I explained ControlNet basics in Chapter 14, but there are models like Z-Image that need different nodes to run ControlNet. Let's go to Workflows, and now I want to open Workflow 4 and also Workflow 7, since both are using ControlNet and you can see the difference. So let's go to the Juggernaut workflow, which is a Stable Diffusion 1.5 model. Here we use a Load Control Net model node, and it is the same node used for SDXL models or Flux models. Then, for ControlNet, we have different models like Depth, Canny, Pose, or other types that control the image generation. Now if we go to the Z-Image Turbo workflow, we have a different node here, called Model Patch Loader. Here we load a ControlNet model, and it is called Union because it has Depth, Canny, and Pose integrated into one single model, so we do not have to keep changing the model. It is one model that does everything it needs. Back in the Juggernaut workflow, we had a preprocessor node that converted our image into a format the ControlNet model understands. For the Z-Image workflow, that part remains the same. We can try different preprocessors like Canny, Depth, or DW-Pose, and they will work with this model. For the last part, in the Juggernaut workflow, we had an Apply ControlNet node between the prompts and the K-sampler with different parameters. For Z-Image Turbo, the node is different. It is called QuenImage DiffSynth ControlNet. Here we only control the strength, which I set to 0.8 so it is not too strong. Now let's download the required models. By now, you should already have the main models downloaded, either FP8, FP16, or BF16. The principle is the same even if you use a GGUF version or other types. We also need to download the ControlNet model. Because we are not using the Load ControlNet model node, but the Model Patch Loader, we need to place this model in the Model Patches folder. So let's click here to download it. Go to the Comfy UI folder, then to Models, and here you will find the Model Patches folder. Let's save the model here. Wait for it to download, since it is around 3 GB. Also keep in mind that over time, more versions can appear, like version 2 or 3, so always check if there is a newer version available. After the download is finished, press the R key to refresh the node definitions so the model appears in the list. Then select that model from the dropdown. Now we should have everything we need to run the workflow. I have here, in the Load Image node, a robot image loaded. For the preprocessor, I use Depth or Canny, but let's start with Canny. For the resolution, I will make it bigger so the Canny map has better details. Then for the prompt, we describe what we want to get, and then we run the workflow. Now we can see that we got a Canny map that ControlNet understands. Look at the result, it looks much better and it follows the edges of the original robot. Let's try with a different image. As you remember, in the input folder I added some images you can use. So let's say I load this sphere and cube image. For the preprocessor, let's use Depth this time. Then let's adjust the prompt to fit. Maybe a green sphere on top of a golden cube in the desert, golden hour, alien. Now, when I run the workflow, I get a depth map for that image. For the most part, it got it right, except the ground. Let's help it understand what I want, so I will add to the prompt, the sphere and cube levitate in air. Let's run it again and see if it understands it better. Now we got exactly what we asked for. You can also give the image to ChatGPT and ask for a prompt, together with instructions on how you want it to look. Let's try something else. This time, let's upload that woman in a yoga pose that the Juggernaut model struggled with, to see how much the model advanced in the last 2 years. For the preprocessor, I use the DW-Pose preprocessor. For the prompt, I will add a photo of a woman dressed in white doing yoga on top of a mountain. Maybe I add photo taken with a DSLR camera, not sure if it will take that too literally. So now we got our pose skeleton, which looks correct. We also got an Asian woman, which Z-Image tends to generate when you do not specify what kind of woman it is. It also added a DSLR camera on the ground, which I do not want. So let's go back to the prompt. I remove the DSLR part, and for the woman, I add that she is European. Now let's test again. The result is actually great. Same pose, the clothes I asked for, and on the mountains. A perfect result. What do you think? Let's try to recreate this ControlNet workflow so you can practice. Go to Workflows, and let's open Workflow 5a, since this is a simple text-to-image workflow for the Z image model. Search for Qwen image, written as one word. Then select the Diff Synth ControlNet node. Now we need to connect this between the model and the K-sampler, so let's add the links so everything goes through this node. Let's see what other inputs we have here. It says Model Patch, so let's search for that node. We add the Model Patch loader, and here we select the Union ControlNet model. Now we drag a connection from this node to the ControlNet node. We also need the VAE, and we already know where it is in this workflow, so we connect that as well. All that is left now is an image. To load an image, we use the Load Image node, so search for that node and add it. If we try to connect the image directly, it will not work correctly, because this model is trained with canny, depth, and pose. So we need something to convert the image into those formats. Search for AIO and add the aux preprocessor node. Now our image goes through this preprocessor. From the list, we can select one, for example, the depth anything preprocessor. For the resolution, we can increase it a bit to get more detail. Now we connect the output of this node to the ControlNet node, since this is the correct format that ControlNet understands. We can also add a preview node to see how the processed image looks. All that is left now is to adjust the prompt. Let's say the prompt is a modern house in winter. We can also increase the width and height to get more details. Now we are ready to test the workflow. We can see the depth map of the building. We can enlarge it to see it better. The result looks like this. It is similar, but not exactly the same building shape. You could try a more detailed prompt or a different preprocessor. Let's add an image comparer node to see the differences. I want the original image before processing, so I connect it to image A. Then, just after the VAE decode, I connect that output to image B. Now let's run the workflow again and make the image comparer node larger. We can see that it shares some building edges with the original image, but not all of them. If we want more accuracy, we can change the preprocessor. Let's select a canny preprocessor instead. Now when we run it, you can see it captures all the edges in the canny map. The result should be more accurate, and this is the result we get. Now we can see many things in common with the original image. Keep in mind, this is controlled mainly by edges, so it will not be exactly the same building. We can get more control later when we cover edit models, like Flux 2, Qwen Edit, or Nano Banana Pro. Up to now, everything we did in Comfy UI happened locally, inside the interface. We loaded models, connected nodes, ran workflows, and generated images on our own machine. API nodes are different. They allow Comfy UI to communicate with external services. An API is simply a way for one program to talk to another program over the internet. Instead of doing everything locally, we can send data out, let another service process it, and then receive a result back. Think of it like this. Local nodes are tools on your desk. API nodes are tools you rent remotely. You send instructions, and you get results back. In Comfy UI, you can click on the plus to add a new blank workflow, then double-click on the canvas and search, for example, for ChatGPT. You can see that it says API node under the node name. Let's select this node. Now this node looks different compared to others. It comes already colored in gold, like a VIP version. On top, it tells you how many credits this node will consume, depending on the settings. Those credits change based on what you use. Here we have a list of models from OpenAI that are accessible through the API. The API letters stand for Application Programming Interface. For example, if we select a big model, it can cost between 2 to 8 credits, depending on what you ask from it and how long the answer is. If I change to ChatGPT Mini, it is almost 0 credits. It is not 0, but it is 0 point something, so it is quite cheap. This node has a string output. So like ChatGPT, you ask something and you get a text reply back. Let's drag a link and search for a node that displays text. Search for preview, and we have this preview as text node that we can add. Here we will get our reply from the ChatGPT model. Let's say I ask it to generate a prompt for a cute cartoon bunny, something 3D. Now when I try to run that, it asks me to sign in if I want to use the API. We could use this login button, or we can cancel and go to the menu, then settings. Here we have the user section in the settings, and again we have the sign in option. Let's click sign in. If you have a Comfy UI account, you can use that, or you can simply log in with Google, which is a faster option for me. Then you select your Gmail email from the list and you will be signed in. Now you also have the option to log out. So now we are connected, but we need credits to run API nodes. Let's go to credits. Credits are like money. You basically use real money to buy credits that you can spend on a lot of models that are available through the API in Comfy UI. I have here some credits I bought a while back. I can click on purchase credits and then it asks me how much I want to spend. For example, I have $10 here, but that might be too much for a beginner to spend on a first try. Let's click on minus to see if we can go lower. The minimum you can buy is 1,055 credits using $5. Then you can click continue to payment. Depending on your country, you have different options to purchase. You can use link, but you can also choose without link if you do not have one set up. Here you have options to pay with a card, or you can use Google Pay if you want, and you also have the option to purchase as a business. Back in Comfy UI, I have enough credits to test a few nodes in today's tutorial. Now when I run the workflow again, this node sends information to the server, wherever those are located in the cloud on OpenAI or somewhere else. Depending on the situation, sometimes it is faster, sometimes it is slower. From the workflow point of view, nothing special is happening. Nodes still connect left to right. Data still flows through cables. The only difference is where the computation happens. Local nodes use your GPU or CPU. API nodes use someone else's hardware. This has advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are that you can use very powerful models that you cannot run locally. You save local VRAM and system resources. Some APIs are faster for specific tasks. Disadvantages are that you depend on an internet connection. There may be usage limits, and of course it costs credits. It is not free. You have less control over model internals. So we got the response from ChatGPT, and it gave us multiple prompts and suggestions instead of a single prompt. So let's refine what we asked and tell it to generate a single prompt. Maybe repeat it once again to reinforce that. Let's run it again. This time we got a single prompt, just like I asked. Now we can copy the prompt and paste it into another workflow if we want. With this node selected, I will use Ctrl+C to copy the node. Then let's go to workflows and open a workflow like this. A workflow that uses ZImage Turbo, which we know likes long prompts. I will move this node to the side, then use Ctrl+V to paste that node. To connect this node, we just drag a link to the positive prompt. Now we have a mix of local models that take the prompt from an API node. We can also drag a preview here if we want. Let me search for preview as text. Now we can see what prompt it gave us. I can rename it prompt so I know this is the prompt. Let's run the workflow. You can see it generated a prompt for me, then it continues to the next part of the workflow and generates the image. This can be quite useful. There are free models that can also do this, but we will talk about that in another episode. Let's change the prompt to be a ninja bunny, maybe in an action pose. Generate again. We get a new prompt describing that bunny, and the result is this image. There are many API nodes and many options to connect them. Let's go back to the previous workflow where it was just those two nodes. Now let's add a concatenate node, a node that lets you combine two strings or prompts. Let me remove this prompt. Since we want to get the prompt from the concatenate node, I will use it for string B for now, and then connect this concatenate node here. I will add a green color so it looks like a positive prompt node. For the first part, I write a cute cartoon bunny ninja. For the second part, I write something like, use the prompt to generate a single detailed prompt, creative. Adapt the prompt to match the prompt's style and mood. You can use all kinds of ChatGPT formulas here to get exactly what you want. Let's drag a link to a new preview as text node so we can see the result of the concatenate node. Maybe I name it prompt, but I might change that later. Still exploring what we can do. When we run it, you can see I forgot to add a separator. so it just combined the Ninja prompt with use the prompt to generate. In the end, it still understood and generated the prompt. But let's fix that delimiter and add a comma and a space. Of course, you can split this into multiple nodes and make workflows more complex, one going into another workflow, and so on. This is the prompt that goes into ChatGPT, and this is the prompt that comes out of ChatGPT, the one we want to use in other workflows. Now we can run it again. You can see the input prompt to ChatGPT is this combined text. I like to use concatenate because I can easily change the first prompt without changing the formula below, so it is easier to edit. The result is this long prompt for the Ninja Bunny. These two nodes are the same, so I only need one and I remove the other. What we did here is split a workflow into multiple pieces, so we can easily edit the prompt without worrying about the formula. I can quickly change the first prompt, run it again, and get a new prompt. It is quite easy to use, at the cost of a few cents or 0-point-something credits. I probably do not need that preview anymore since I know how they are combined, so I will leave just one concatenate node, the ChatGPT node, and the preview of the final prompt. Now that we have this, we can save it. Hold Ctrl and drag a selection over all nodes, right-click on the canvas, then use Save Selected as template. Give it a name, maybe ChatGPT prompt, so we know it generates prompts. Now we can paste it into any workflow. Let me open that 5A workflow again. Since it was already open, I will close it because I do not want the extra nodes, then open it again fresh with default values. I move this to the side, right-click on the canvas, go to Node Templates, and now we have that template there. We can move it wherever we want. Remember that the ChatGPT prompt comes from this string output here, and we connect it to any workflow we have to the positive prompt. Now when I run the workflow, ChatGPT generates a prompt. That prompt is used in the Z image workflow, and the result is this cute monk cat. But the ChatGPT model is also a vision model, which means I can give it an image and it can see what is in that image. Let me remove this concatenate node. Let's add a load image node. I upload this image of a helmet. Now we can connect this node to where it says images. It says images because you can add multiple images if you use a batch images node, but maybe we explore that in a future episode. For the prompt, let's say something like, give me a single prompt description for this image, descriptive prompt. There are more complex formulas, but I am just trying something on the spot. Now let's run the workflow. ChatGPT looks at my image, and after a few seconds, it should give me a prompt based on that image. We got this nice long prompt, and the result is this one. It is not perfectly identical, but with a better formula we can probably get something even closer. It is still pretty close to what we asked. You can also run the workflow multiple times to get different seeds. Let's see what else we can do. Let's create a new blank workflow. Double-click on the canvas and search for Nano Banana. We have this first version of Nano Banana that is cheaper. It is 8 credits, so you can probably get something similar for free from Google Gemini. We also have Nano Banana Pro, the more powerful model that can do big images. This one costs 28 credits. If we change to 4K size, it will cost 51 credits. Depending on the model, some can cost over 100 credits, so be careful what nodes you use, because you can run out of credits pretty fast. Both accept images, but Nano Banana Pro understands prompts and images better. You can see what model is used for the first Nano Banana, and for Nano Banana Pro, it is actually called Gemini 3 Pro Image. Let's remove the first node and use this one to generate an image. I add a load image node so we can load an image from disk, then connect the nodes. Now I upload an image, for example, this portrait of a man. Then I add the prompt. We did not talk yet about editing models like Flux 2, QuenEdit, or Nano Banana Pro, but these can be used to edit or modify an image. I could say change the t-shirt, or replace the background or hair color. Let's try something simple, like telling it to change what he wears to a steampunk suit. For resolution, for this test I go with 2K since it uses about half the credits. We also have aspect ratio. Instead of auto, I set it to 9:16, but you should use whatever ratio you need. When I run it, I get a prompt failed message. Can you guess why? It says it has no output. That is because we did not save the image. So let's drag a link and add a save image node. I also see it has a string output, so let's add a text preview node to see what it outputs there. Now we can run the workflow again. This one takes longer, over a minute to generate. You can also check your profile here to see how many credits you have, or sign out, manage subscription, and so on. You can also check partner node pricing. This opens the Comfy UI website where you can see how much it costs to use any of the models that are not free, the so-called partner nodes. You have models for images, text, and also a few nodes for video. These usually need a lot of VRAM, and you can generate video even if you do not have that VRAM locally, but at a cost. Back in Comfy UI, we got our generation. If we look at it, the result is quite good, in 2K size, and it is quite similar to the original man. So it is a good model, but expensive. For the text output, we also got something like a peek into what the model was thinking, basically a prompt it used to generate that image based on the small prompt I gave it and the image. You can explore more API node workflows created by the Comfy UI team if you go to Templates. Here you have all kinds of workflows, but if you want to see the API ones, select Partner Nodes. Then you can filter them by model if you know what model you are looking for, or just explore random workflows. It does not cost you anything to open and check a workflow. It only costs credits when you run it. Let's say I like the preview of this workflow. I click on it and I get the workflow. Let's see what it uses. We have a load image node, so it expects an image from our computer. We have a Nano Banana prompt, and it says, color this image. So if you upload a sketch, it will color that sketch using the Nano Banana Pro model. By default, it is set to 1K, but you can change the settings to fit your needs. Let's go again to Templates and check another workflow, maybe this one with the shoe. This one is more complex. It expects an image of a product like a shoe, then it uses a ByteDance model, which is similar to Nano Banana but a cheaper version. Once the image is saved, it goes to different video models. These models cost around 103 credits each. It looks like it generates multiple videos from that shoe, depending on the prompt, and then combines all those videos into one final video. A workflow this big takes some time to run and can cost you maybe around 300 credits, so roughly a couple of dollars. I did not do the exact math, but you can spend credits very fast with video models. One important thing to understand is that API nodes do not make Comfy UI cloud-based. Comfy UI is still running locally. You are simply adding external steps into your pipeline. From a mental model point of view, treat API nodes exactly like normal nodes. The cables do not care where the data comes from. If the output type matches, it works. This also means you can mix local models, ggUF models, diffusion models, and API nodes all in the same workflow. Comfy UI is a complex application with a lot of nodes created by different people, and we combine all these things together like Lego pieces. At some point, you will get an error, either because you forgot to connect a link, you connected the wrong nodes, or you used the wrong models. In this chapter, I will try to explain what you can do when that happens, because it will happen. If we look at the workflows, we have this workflow with the number 0, the first one. This one is for help and resources, and I tried to gather here some information that might help you. Let's start with resources. The best way to learn Comfy UI is to watch tutorials and to practice. You have here a link to the Pixaroma YouTube channel, but there are many other YouTubers who do tutorials for Comfy UI. You can search on YouTube for different tutorials. Try to look for more recent ones, because if a tutorial is 2 years old, most things are probably different now. That is one of the reasons I made this new series. On the top of my YouTube header, I added a link to my Discord. Click on it, then click Go to Site, and you will get an invitation to join the Pixaroma Discord server. If for some reason it says invalid, try a different browser or the mobile application. You click Accept Invite, and you will land in the Welcome channel. I will show you more about how to navigate Discord in a minute. In this note, I also included a link to Discord and some useful info, like where the Pixaroma workflows are and so on. Let's click on this link, and we get to the same invite. It goes to the same server and the same welcome channel. This is my server called Pixaroma, but there are many other servers for Comfy UI. For example, if you go to the comfy.org website and then to resources, they also have a Discord link. It is the same process. You accept the invite and you land on their welcome channel. On the left side, you have the servers you joined, like my Pixaroma server or the Comfy UI server. Let's go to Pixaroma and explore a bit more. On the left, we have different channel names, so we stay organized. Each channel has its purpose. There are also categories that contain multiple channels, which you can collapse or expand. For example, if I collapse this category, you might think you cannot find the Pixaroma Workflows channel. But if we click on this arrow, we expand the category, and now we can see the Pixaroma Workflows channel there. For every server you join, check the rules so you know what you are allowed to do and you do not break the rules and get banned. If your Discord account gets hacked and posts spam in your name, you might get banned as well. You can send me a message to remove the ban if you fixed your account and it is not hacked anymore. Here we also have a help channel where you can find what each channel is for and where to post. Some channels are public, some are private and only for members, and some are public but only moderators or admins can post, like news and updates. We also have a daily challenge for people who use AI. You can find more info in this channel, and you can participate in the challenge in the Daily Challenge channel. When you see a number with a red circle, that means someone mentioned you or everyone on the server. For example, when you see that the News and Updates channel has a notification, go check it, because I probably posted a new tutorial or shared an update. You can see this post used everyone to mention everyone on the server. In Off Topic, you can discuss things that do not fit in Comfy UI or other channels, but try to avoid spam and make sure it still respects the rules. For Comfy UI, here you usually have the most active chat. People talk about Comfy UI, so if you post here for quick help, and if members know the answer and have time, you might get help. If not, it might get ignored. Another channel where you can post is the forum. There you usually post things for longer-term discussion. You might post today and get replies in hours, days, or sometimes not at all if people do not know the answer. You can see that I can post in this channel because it lets me type. You can ask for help here and include screenshots and all the details. This is also the channel where Ivo posts updates about the Easy Installer, which he continuously improves and adds more scripts to make things easier. Thanks to Ivo for all the help. Make sure you check this area for updates related to the Easy Installer. The most visited channel is probably the Pixaroma Workflows channel, where people come to get my workflows from tutorials. Here I have a list of older episodes from 2024 to 2025, and also this new series I am doing now, starting with the first episode. You can see links that lead to specific episodes. For example, if I click on the first episode, I land on this page where I will also add a link to the YouTube video once it is ready. You will find all the chapters of that video, plus links to Comfy UI and the workflows. You can download the workflows either as a zip archive that you extract or as individual JSON files. You can also comment on this forum post. Since I post this series as forum posts, you can comment if something does not work, so we can try to fix it if possible. Keep the conversation limited to that specific episode. For the next episodes, comment on their respective posts. If it is not related, use the forum or the Comfy UI channel. For off-topic discussions, use the off-topic channel. You can also use Discord to navigate quickly. You can create links to different channels. For example, if I type the hash sign, I can select different channels like Pixaroma Workflows. Or I can type hash and then help, and you can see what happens. It adds a link to that channel. When I press enter, I get a clickable link to the help channel. If I click it, I land in the help channel. Let's go back to the off-topic channel. If you hover over a message, you have different options, like edit or add reactions. Some servers also allow you to use emojis from other servers. For example, I can select this Pixabunny emoji. To remove a message, hover again, click the three dots, and you have different options, including delete. If I type hash and then Pixaroma, and select Pixaroma Workflows, press enter, then click it, I land in the Pixaroma Workflows channel. I keep getting messages that people cannot find the Pixaroma Workflows channel, so I hope this tutorial helps you find it more easily. In channels where you cannot comment, you will see a message saying that posting is not allowed. Usually, only admins or moderators can post there. Use the Comfy UI channel for discussion and help related to Comfy UI. Use off-topic if you cannot find the right channel. Let's go to the forum. Here you can find all kinds of forum posts. For example, we have this pinned forum post that you should read before you post anything. From here, you can create a new post. You can close this if you want to see more of the forum. When you create a post, you can add a title, a message, and screenshots with your workflow that has problems. You can also add tags to your post depending on what the post is about. Add a clear title and a descriptive message, not something vague. When you are done, you can post it using this button. You can also check other posts to see how they are written. For example, the workflows from the first episode are posted in a forum post. Besides that, you have more channels for AI video and AI music, for ChatGPT and other AI topics, and a few more channels that I will let you explore in your free time. Keep discussions civilized and help when you can. I visit the Discord every day, but I cannot respond to all messages. Mention Pixaroma if something is important. In the top right, you also have an inbox. On the left side, if you click on the logo, you have direct messages where you can talk with your friends. If you click on Unread, you can see notifications, including mentions, so you can quickly see when someone mentioned you or everyone on the server. You can jump directly to that message using the jump button. Always check mentions, especially when you see your username. You also have a search bar, which many people forget exists. Here, you can type a model name or a few words that people might have used in discussions. For example, if I search for LTX2, I can see quite a few posts with that search query, and I can jump to any of those discussions. You can also search posts from a specific user. For example, I can search for posts from Pixaroma. Make sure the username is Pixaroma and not something else, because some people try to mimic the name. Both the username and display name should be Pixaroma. Now you can see all the posts from Pixaroma. You also have more options and filters that you can use for different channels and searches. You can use these arrows to reply to a message or forward it to someone else. Okay, enough with Discord. Let's go back to Comfy UI. I included here more resources for Comfy UI, like the official ones, and also some unofficial ones like Reddit or Facebook groups that you can try. Let's open the Reddit group, for example. We have this Comfy UI Reddit group where you can see discussions, news, tutorials, and so on, and where you can post your questions. There is also one called Stable Diffusion, which includes discussions about Stable Diffusion and free models, Comfy UI, but also other interfaces, not only Comfy UI. You can also search for a word on Reddit, like Comfy UI, and sort the results by communities. Then, you can check which ones have more members. The two I use the most are these ones. Make sure you also check the other notes I added here, like definitions for beginners, what a model is, what a text encoder is, and so on. There is also more information about performance, common errors and fixes, model locations, custom nodes, and how to update Comfy UI. I also included a link to the Easy Installer in case you want to go back to it and find more info or check what is new in the releases. If you want, I also created an experimental ChatGPT that you can try, especially for this Easy Install Comfy UI version. Like any ChatGPT, it can hallucinate sometimes, but it is still better than a simple chat because it is more specialized for Comfy UI. For example, if I ask where the images are saved, it will think and also search the knowledge database where I added some files. Then it will answer. You can see the answer is pretty good, so I think it will help a lot of beginners. Sometimes, if you think it made a mistake, maybe because something is new and the model was trained months ago, you can ask, "Are you sure?" Look online, and it will search the web. This way you can double-check and improve your chances of getting a more accurate response. In this case, it knew that images are saved in the output folder. Let's ask something else, like where are the Pixaroma workflows? Where can I find them? It will tell you they are on Discord and give you the channel name. Let me try something else. Let's open workflow number 1, the Juggernaut text-to-image workflow, and disconnect this node to cause an error. When I run it, I get this error. Now I take a screenshot of this error, go to that custom chat, paste the screenshot, and ask how to fix this error. You can see that in this case, since it was a simple error, it knew how to answer and told me to drag a wire from load checkpoint VAE to the VAE decode node. This can save you a lot of time in many cases, so I hope you find it useful. You can give it more screenshots and more info, even ones without the error, so it can understand the workflow better. Sometimes on GitHub it asks you to post an error report, and you can find here a report that gives more info about the error. You also have Find This Issue, which opens the issue pages on the Comfy UI GitHub page. This is the official Comfy UI GitHub page for the portable version, not the Easy Installer, even though the Easy Installer installs the same version plus extra scripts. There is an Issues tab where people post problems. You can search issues that are open or include closed ones as well. You can also post a new issue if it is something new and you did not find any information about it. Make sure it is an issue with a Comfy UI node, not a custom node. For custom nodes, you need to go to the custom node page instead. To fix this error, we just connect the VAE back to VAE decode. But let's say you have your VAE as a separate file for some workflows, so you use load VAE to load a VAE and connect that to VAE. Let's see what happens when I run the workflow. It gives this error, which usually means we used models with different architectures that are not meant to work together. The error is shown in VAE decode, but VAE decode is not really the problem. The problem is the input that goes into that node. In this case, the VAE loaded with load VAE was the issue. Let's go back to the help workflow. I want to remind you that when you ask for help, include screenshots of your workflow. Tell us what video card you have, how much VRAM and system RAM you have, and which operating system you are using. Also explain what you already tried and what did not work. This helps the community assist you faster. Okay, one more chapter to go. Are you ready? You have now reached the end of this course. At this point, you understand how Comfy UI works, how workflows are built, how models differ, and how to use tools like LoRa, ControlNet, and advanced diffusion models. But learning Comfy UI does not really end here. This is just the foundation. The most important thing to understand is that Comfy UI is not a fixed tool. It is constantly evolving. New models appear, new nodes are created, new workflows solve problems in better ways. So the best way to continue learning is by experimenting. Open workflows, break them, rebuild them, change one thing at a time and see what happens. That is how real understanding happens. Another important habit is reading workflows, not just using them. When you download a workflow, do not just press run. Look at the nodes. Follow the connections. Ask yourself why something is there. If a workflow looks confusing, that usually means it is teaching you something new. Next, stay connected to the community. Use Discord to ask questions, share results, and help others when you can. Very often, answering someone else's question will make you understand things better yourself. Follow model releases, but do not chase everything. You do not need every new model. Find a few that work well for your style and hardware, and learn them deeply. As you get more comfortable, start building your own workflows from scratch, even simple ones, especially simple ones. That is how you move from copying to creating. Also remember that AI tools change fast. What matters most is not memorizing settings, but understanding concepts. Noise, conditioning, sampling, structure versus style. Those ideas will stay useful, even when models change. Finally, do not rush. There is no finish line here. Learning Comfy UI is a process, not a goal. Take your time, have fun, and keep experimenting. This is just the beginning. So what comes next? Obviously, I will continue this series and do episode 2, 3, and so on, but I cannot make them as big as this first episode. They will be shorter videos, focused on things we did not learn yet, like other models such as Qwen or Flux, video models, and so on. We still have a lot to cover, and every week or month we see new models and new nodes appearing. My plan for the new series is to show you these new models and workflows in a more easy to understand way so everything makes sense as much as possible. Some of these workflows and models are so new that nobody really knows much about them yet. I will try to post a new episode every week if my health allows it. If not, then at least one episode every 2 weeks. This new series will have bunnies on the thumbnails, so you do not confuse it with the old series. For the new series, as you saw, the workflows on Discord are posted in the forum. This makes it easier for me to see when you find a bug or when something does not work anymore, so I can try to fix it. That is why the old series, even though it still has good tutorials and you can still watch it, especially the last episodes, will not receive updated workflows. I will not go back and try to fix those old workflows. Instead, I will focus on the new series. When needed, I can revisit those older workflows, adapt them to new models, and present that in a new episode in the new series. I wanted you to have the basics in this long episode 1, this course that you probably cannot find somewhere else. I worked 1 month on this episode, and I wanted everyone to have access to it for free. I could have put it behind a paid course, but I feel better when I can help people. That being said, I do appreciate your support. There are many ways you can help me and this channel so I can create more videos. The easiest way is to press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment, even if it is just a simple thank you. This shows activity to the YouTube algorithm and helps the video reach more people. So now, if someone asks where they can start learning Comfy UI, you can share the link to this course. I will also create a new playlist that will host all the new episodes from this series. For those who can afford to buy me a cup of tea, since I do not drink coffee, being a bunny I already have too much energy, you can use the join button. Here you have 4 different options, from really cheap, like half a cup of tea per month, to more expensive, like a premium cup of tea. Depending on the option you choose, you get different perks. For example, Legends have a private channel on Discord where they get to know me better. If you do not want to help monthly, you can also help one time. On each video, you can find this heart with a $sign called Super Thanks. Super Thanks allows you to select an amount of money that you want to donate and send it. You can use this for videos that really helped you, like this course or any other episode where you learned something useful. Speaking about Legends and those who subscribe to the membership, I want to thank all of you who made this course possible with your support. Together, we can help other people learn new tools, understand this crazy AI world we live in, and maybe even make it a better place. Thank you all. You are the best. Have a great day, and I will see you on Discord.